reminder for everyone, do not take a loan from your 401k. According to Transamerica Center for Retirement, about 34 to 37% of workers have either taken a loan, early withdrawal, or a hardship withdrawal from their 401k. Most people think they are borrowing from themselves when they take a 401k loan, but according to Vanguard, the average 401k balance in 2024 was $121,000, already not enough for retirement. So how could taking money out, even temporarily, set you back?
Yeah, and usually when we come across this, someone's trying to reduce their debt they have out there. And
Yeah.
so they're thinking, why don't I take some of this 401k, get this off my lap and not have to worry about it. The challenge is what you do is you end up taking away from your cash flow. So, when you have that paycheck coming in every month, instead of you getting maybe that $5,000 a month, you're gonna all of a sudden gonna have a maybe $4,500 a month coming in, which can really set you back in your cash flow.
Absolutely. And then also, let's talk about the loss of compounding growth. Fidelity found that a 30-year-old who borrows $10,000 and misses just 5 years of growth could lose more than $25,000 by retirement. Can you explain how this works?
Yes, and so compound interest. So we've seen it a lot more here lately since banks are now have been paying a little bit more interest, and so we can kind of see how our dollar can grow over time. When you take your 401k and you borrow from it, you lose the opportunity to have that money grow on top of its growth year after year after year and have that compound into a bigger number. When you take that compounding effect away and also now you turn it into debt, really you're ultimately really taking away some really good compounding years when maybe you could have found a different way to attack whatever you were trying to accomplish with that
Hmm.
with that loan.
Hmm. And a lot of people don't realize that repayments on a 401k loan are, of course, made with after tax dollars. But again, then when you go to withdraw that money in retirement, it's taxed again as ordinary income. This is a double tax hit.
It is. I mean, because you're ultimately borrowing away from money you had deferred in prior years. And so, really, what it comes down to is, now you're paying back with after tax dollars this debt. And again, so you're not really getting away from your credit card debt if
Mhm.
this is how you're attacking it. Right. And so, it really comes down to where you got to look at the overall picture and see, what does my cash flow look like? You want to have wealth growing, you want your assets to be working for you even if you have some debt in the background. If you just freeze your savings and attack your debt, we've talked about this before, you just fall farther and farther behind.
Right, right, right. And now let's talk about what happens if you don't repay that loan. Then you're hit with the penalty on top of state and federal taxes. John, what do we lose?
Really, what you lose is if you're under 59 and a half when you took this loan, you are looking at a 10% penalty along with the taxes that come with it. And a lot of times people have not planned for that to happen. But, for whatever reason, you lose your job and you're not able to make a payment on this debt that you created. There are some consequences to that. And so you just want to be really careful if you're getting into something like this to really understand the cost and really the risks of that loan.
Absolutely. So then, John, before we tap our 401k, what should we consider first?
First, the financial advisor may says, can we save for whatever we're trying to accomplish?
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
look at our budget and, trip away. But if that's not the option, right? I'm looking at my home and seeing if I have some home equity there and seeing how much would it cost me if I took a home equity loan, a fixed home equity loan and work to pay off some things. But you just got to be careful of using debt to pay off debt is what I really get really concerned about is where people fall behind in that. So that's one of the ways. Then obviously the other way is looking at 0% interest credit cards. But again, that's one of those things where you just you hesitate to do some of that. You just want to be really careful with how much debt are you taking on and making sure it doesn't take away from your assets growing in the future.
Right, right. But this definitely should be a last resort. John, if somebody would like to sit down with you, make sure they have their financial ducks in a row, no matter what happens, what's the best way to reach you?
Yes, 440-471-4300 is the best way to get a hold of us. You can go online and click around and you'll find us at clarkwealthadvisor.com. And so there's ways to reach out to us there as well. But just reach out, and then we're very good at just kind of going through this stuff with you and
Yeah.
helping you understand the pros and cons of each way.
Great. John, thank you.
Sure. Take care.